Tax Happy Hour. Natty Tax Happy Hour. Dig.
Hello, beautiful people. One of these days, I'm going to set up a better shot than just relying on the quad shot and then kicking Meryl off the stream whenever Justin shows up. Hey, Meryl Barr, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you? Anything new to talk about on your side?
Yeah, no, we've got guests. It feels like we're getting back to business
I
and
like it.
it's really wild.
We talked on the phone about that. How, like, because what you're doing now is, in essence, shooting a proper season of television.
Correct. I'm
Um,
doing things the way Hollywood does, which is
right.
we begin, we shoot a season, we're done.
But that's
everybody
which
go
is
home.
which is not to knock your way of doing things. Your way of doing things is arguably calmer.
I mean,
Right?
it's certainly healthier.
Right. It's like
it's lower stress.
But it also comes with the format of the show. Your show is running all weeks year round, 2 to 3 episodes a week. So it's just constantly going, constantly in production at all times. So it's like
one of the advantages of that is that we get to pivot. Let's say, on a Thursday, something becomes famous. By Monday, we have a hot take on it and we're testing it, Mythbusters style or whatever.
Right.
But it also has the advantage of just feeling in control. And the more humans you involve in a thing and the more you bow to a schedule, the more people have to do things not at a time that they want to do them and maybe not in the way that they want to do them. And
there's a give and take. So the give is that you get maximum relaxation, maximum leniency to be like it's all chill. The episode, we got 3 to 4 episodes in the bank. If we can't get it done today, because we'll get it done tomorrow, but we're gonna get it done.
But
the trade though,
yeah.
the trade is you don't get as much free time because you're always doing this. Whereas we were talking about this about a week ago, where when this month is over and you have the rest of the year banked, you get September, October, November, and December to open that time up for something else, which you're actively doing.
Yeah, but I think the real truth behind it, which is
Pandemic?
the air will fill the void. I'll end up doing something.
But the point is though, I think it's both models are equally acceptable depending on what you're looking to do. I will be interested to see what your next 4 months look like. Going into I will see what your fall looks like. I'd be very curious to see that.
Yeah. If I know me, and I'm pretty sure I do know me, I'm going to be right now. It's hard, but the moment it's over with, I'm going to know that we have, let's say, 20, 30, 40 episodes banked. We have essentially the rest of the year or whatever. Then I get to flip my mind over into bonus mode, whether it's extra creative stuff, whether it's testing out side projects. Like, we're messing around with Rogue News. I'm realizing that, the way Rogue News needs to work is right at the top. The envelope needs to make it very clear in the first 10 seconds. Hey, this is Rogue News. This is the type of stuff that we cover over at themodernrogue.com. I'm a producer or editor or production assistant or whatever. Like, we have 2 goals. We want to tell you the kind of crazy stories that we're covering on the website, and also introduce you to the whole team. And that's something that we've not been good about doing in the first couple, mainly because I think we've only done 2, and everybody already knew who Jason was, so that kind of wasn't a thing. But then now it's like like the moment John shows up, they're all like, "Who's this low budget John Stamos?" And then
I think you're gonna have, because Nerdist literally did a version of this exact thing, where Nerdist was Chris Hardwick, right? And I worked for Nerdist for like a little over a year as a writer. on the website, and it was Chris, right? And then they started getting into bigger on the YouTube channel and putting Jessica Chobot out front. And then after they had Jessica Chobot out front as the face of Nerdist News, they started throwing out more of the writers into the YouTube channel that you maybe hadn't seen that much of. And it took a little bit of time, but eventually the goal was to grow the brand beyond Chris. Chris was the podcast, right?
Did
And Chris was the
did they
face of the
eventually get
brand.
there, or were they ever able to break out of
You
it?
gotta remember, they would have gotten there except for the fact there were a ton of corporate buyouts happening at the same time.
Right.
So it was a lot, the Hollywood machine was quickly churning through, and a couple of them are still there. Some of them have moved on to other things, but they were that was the goal. So they were trying to get to that place. I think you have a better shot of getting to that place.
I mean,
Uh,
I'll tell you who did it is and is now living overseas is Bernie Burns with Rooster Teeth. Like they did it. They transformed from a few guys into a brand, into a flavor, into an entity, and one of the core creators of the brand is now divorced from the company, as I understand it.
Well, Hardwick is divorced from Nerdist too. He's not part of it anymore. He hasn't been part of it.
Well, I didn't know about that, but but it sounds to me like Bernie did it in a way that he's pretty happy about.
Yeah.
He we like we've had lunches here or there, but in general, like it was wild to just get a text saying, "Hey, what's up? It's Bernie," and I was like, that okay. Hi, what's up? He's like, anyway, I'm over in this place in Europe, and I live here now. You want to come over? And I'm just like, okay,
dude, modern rogue, like you gotta do like a couple weeks of the modern rogue travel, like, and you go to Europe and do modern rogue European things.
Well, specifically, he lives. I don't want to talk out of school, but he's like, you do realize that I live in this area, which has a lot of whiskey distilleries. Would you and your whiskey-related friends like to come? And I'm just like, yeah.
But overall, I think this is a really good. Again, you've been talking a lot about the idea of the natural experiment since the pandemic started. I think this is a great natural experiment that's currently taking place for the modern rogue. Can you condense your production into 1 to 2 months, produce a season's worth of stuff, but to the audience eye never actually stops. You're always going, you're still maintaining schedule. And if you can, that's how you grow the
I mean,
business to what else can we do?
There's a reason Hollywood landed on that method, right? I mean,
Right.
so I have to assume it's the most efficient. Also, we're at a fun phase now where as I'm watching episodes, because oftentimes the ads are recorded much more recently than the episodes. So, like, I basically have to look at my hair length to figure out, like, was that last week or 2 months ago? I can't tell. And nobody seems to care. It's pretty great. I'm hopeful that we can continue to do it exactly the way we have. And in fact, we've been talking about like the ultimate plan is in the beginning, Mono Rogue was always Brian and always Jason. And then we had some episodes, thanks to COVID, where it was a little bit weird that Jason wasn't there. And we had a couple of episodes where it was a little bit weird that Brian wasn't there. And it's like, I'm fingers crossed, hopeful that we're going to get to a place where there's various side quests that each of us are uniquely qualified for. Like, Jason.
Well, I also
I
think you're doing it. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was going to say I don't think Jason has much of an interest in going to a beer brewing facility or whatever, or a gin distillery or whatever. But it's like, I'd love to. And it was really great when Jason said, hey, you should go do those things, and they could be solo. Like we're introducing the idea of solo quests, and I really love it,
Yeah, I think the one thing you don't want is your show's the closest thing to your show is MythBusters, right? And MythBusters
Never
is
heard of
Adam
them.
and Jamie. MythBusters is Adam and Jamie. They did, and I love the build. I say that having loved the build team. I love Grant, Tori, and Carrie. They were fantastic, and but they did try and spin off into their own MythBusters show called White Rabbit on
Right.
Netflix, and it was fun, but it wasn't MythBusters
Right.
because it was missing that Adam and Jamie spice.
Well, and
And
and I think that's the other thing is that we have the opportunity to, um, I don't know. There's what like basically, depending on how you count it, 3 to 5 blocks per episode, and it's pretty easy for any of us to show up, even remotely. Like for example, weirdly, the advertising block still, I hope, has entertainment value, even though we're Skyping each other and we're recording remotely or whatever. We're still laughing and joking about hair loss and boner pills and all of that stuff.
you had already proven that it could be when you went on that cruise and you did those handful of ads
Oh
for the
yeah,
cruise ship,
yeah.
the Bombfell ads.
I was super worried about that at the time, man.
But it totally worked out. Um, but yeah, I think you're in a good place right now. I think I think the goal should be to just worry about getting this season of production done, and then worrying about your side quests there later. Because I think the main goal is like prove you can do this. Prove to yourselves you can all do this.
Prove we could do it under fire, because
Yeah.
these I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that these are extraordinary times.
Right.
And if we can make it through this, then I feel like we can make it through anything. Speaking of making
Yeah.
it through anything, are you allowed? How much are you allowed to talk about your secret stuff? Oh my God, what is that? A Warrior Nun shirt? Are you just a big fan?
I'm a huge fan, Brian. Also, I gotta take this shirt off because it's balls hot. I didn't think that story was gonna go that long. Oh my god. I'm allowed to talk about I worked on Warrior Nun season 2.
uh,
Which I have been holding back for months.
which
We like to
by the
we talk
way,
about
totally changed the way I watched season 1. Like knowing that almost certainly there was going to be a season 2, or at least there was some kind of effort being made for a season 2, made me not at all mind how season 1 ended on a big old-fashioned X-Files style cliffhanger.
I mean, the truth of every Netflix show in existence, because this is not a secret, this is very well known, is they they don't renew, right? They've never we literally legitimately this is not bullshit. Um we got the renewal last like a week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was at this point. Like they announced it on Wednesday. I think we got it last week. We got the renewal last week. They announced it on Wednesday. That's true. What Netflix does, however, is for every show that you're watching on Netflix, if it's a series meant to go,
They have
they're always
an
doing the writers' room.
exploratory committee.
They have it's
Yes.
basically an exploratory
Yeah.
committee of like
Yeah.
it's
Like,
that's
we're
not a
not
secret.
saying you get another one, but if we did, let's go ahead and have a battle plan ready to go. What would it
That's
involve?
basically
Yeah.
it, right? And every like there are people who have talked about they worked on season 4 of Daredevil. Like that happened. Like and then one day someone walked in and said, "Guess what? We're not doing that anymore."
Yeah.
Which was always the potential, right? So I'm not talking out of school there. I can't say anything else beyond the fact that I worked on it.
Sure.
But what we can talk about is the fact that I got to work in my first writer's room.
Congratulations, man. And I know, and it may feel like you took the long way around, but I think you took the
Well, I'm still
only
taking
way around, which
Yeah,
is.
and I
I
just
mean,
want to say one
you,
thing.
you,
It was
you
the
did a
role was writer's PA.
podcast. I mean, real quick, you did an entire 200 episodes of a podcast about how to write, which
Well, not too. I did. Well, I mean, between that and the old show I used to do before that one, it was like 100, 150
right.
episodes.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
A lot. You did a
Yeah.
lot of episodes of an established brand that was dedicated hours and hours and hours to nothing but learning from the best of the best. Having Sean Ryan talk to you about how to break down a script and reconstruct it and what's right and what's wrong. I have to imagine, and forgive me if I'm overstating this, but in my imagination, nobody's paying you for this. You're doing it because of the love of the craft and because it gets you FaceTime with all of these people and you get to learn all of these things. That's a hard way to do it.
The question that came up a lot was, how are you getting all these people? And I'm like, I don't know. Like,
You're
I
asking.
think
I mean, you're
I'm
asking. You're saying
asking. I'm asking.
you're saying,
Yeah, and
hey,
I do wanna make it clear, like, the way I got this one was it was writer's PA, which is the lowest, position on any
oh
show, any
no
writer's room is writer's.
self-deprecation. It doesn't matter. You're in
Um,
the room. You're
I
there.
was in the I was in the room, but, you know, I was ba writer's PA, if you have a good showrunner, the showrunner will go, "You can come watch us do our thing," and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I'm gonna come watch you do your thing," and so that's what happened here, 'cause Simon Barry is an amazing person, the showrunner of the show, and, I got the biggest thing for me was this was such a demystification of something that was mythologized for so long, the concept of the writer's room, right, and, you know, there's literally a whole
Sorry,
documentary.
of the what?
The writer's room.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole documentary, amazing documentary called Showrunners about the art of show running and making TV and what it's like in the writer's room and all that stuff. And I literally sat there and like, this is literally just a bunch of running around. This would be like if you and I were at the bar, crazy stories for a random TV show. It's literally that, except they get paid to actually go make the crazy idea.
Yeah, you just
Um,
you sit around and shout "what if" constantly,
right.
all the time. All right, hold on. We have 2 Justin Robert Youngs and no Meryl Bars. You might be a radio voice from now on, Meryl.
All right. Should I sign off?
Sure.
All right, I'm signing.
So, Justin, we were
Yeah.
just getting to the big reveal that
Go.
that Meryl was able to announce that he's been working on the newly announced season 2 of Warrior Nun. It's unclear.
Hey!
It's unclear to
Yay.
me like what we can and can't talk about, but we
I
can.
can't talk. I basically can talk about the fact that I did it and what the experience was like of doing the job of being there.
Being in a
I just
writer's
can't
room.
talk about, you know,
Any specifics? Yeah.
any specifics, what we worked on. Sorry, I'm getting the chat up on my I can read it. Okay. But it was such a fun I mean, you know, there was still the act of getting lunch, filling the snacks, doing all that stuff. But it
But
was never
but
intimidating.
you got to feel listened to when
Yeah.
like every so often there's a gap in kind of a pitch sesh, and you've got your kind of dominant alpha and your 2 or 3 other guys who are good at riffing, but then every so often there's a gap and you've got an idea that needs to be heard and you get to throw it out there.
Yeah.
Subjectively, without any specifics, did you get to have those moments?
Yeah, because well, again, it's show to show. I mean, some shows don't do that. Some shows don't want the writer's PA in the room or talking. Um, but there are a handful of shows if they're good and because there are Simon Barry is very much about promoting, right? And so he promoted a bunch of people from last season to higher ranks this year. And so he very much wants to train his lower staff to move up the ladder. And so he's like the I got the like what's funny is the way I got this job was through a friend who because for those that don't know, I was in a bad place in December and January, and I was about to lose
Delaware,
I was about to lose everything.
Florida.
And then a friend and then a friend hit me up and was like, "Are you working right now?" I'm like, "Nope." She goes, "Do you want this job?" I'm like, "Yeah." I didn't even know what the show was. And I said, "Yes, I will take any job." Um and
Well,
then
well,
so
Justin, the only other bit that you missed was I pointed out that having hundreds of hours of interviews with top Hollywood writers probably didn't hurt. When
none of them knew
when,
about it.
when
None
he
of
was doing word Tetris, whether or not they even knew about it or not. Like that's how it works is you do the thing for free so you can learn the important lessons for free and it just becomes part of why you become qualified to do the thing when the opportunity arrives.
Well, I mean, I think, and Meryl could probably speak far more eloquently on this subject, but Los Angeles is a city, and entertainment and television specifically is a city that operates on who you know. And
Yeah.
there are seasonals like hirings. Nobody, maybe, 1 in 100,000 people that do that profession ride the lightning on some show that goes for, 5 years, let alone the mega hits that run for longer than that. By and large, you are catching a wave, riding the wave, and then the wave subsides, and you just kind of paddle
On
until
to the
you
next
get that
gig.
next wave. But
Yeah, and
the
sometimes
the
they're
waves are there for people that know people.
Yeah. And sometimes they're awesome, sometimes they're not. Every wave is different. The biggest thing that prepared me for this job, what I was really happy about, was I had gone through a season as post PA on Pearson, which was the Suits spinoff they did at USA, or tried to do, and got canceled after one season, unfortunately. And that was the job that taught me how to do the PA job. So when I got to writer's PA, I was already like skilled at being a PA, which turns out it's a very specialized job that unless you've been taught how to do it, you're going to suck at it.
What
They expect
am I right in understanding? First of all, PAs universally underappreciated. I think back to Hacking the System, and I think about how much of the best parts of everything were because the PAs owned the project and owned the visuals and owned presenting it well or whatever. But in general, to somebody not Hollywood, basically your job is to make the writer's room pleasant for the writers.
It's literally, you are the only person working on the show whose job is office administration.
Yeah, like your job is catering only with the added benefit that you might be able to say, what if it was a vampire? And then that becomes the subject of an entire season.
Right. And there were points at that where that happened. And it was just it was a very inviting, welcoming experience. I'm really happy that this ended up being my first writer's room. But it was everything I could have hoped for. And also it was like the universe helping me out a little bit, because on top of this is the fun part. This is my favorite part of the writer's room. I can say this. So there's a building in Studio City. And I live like one is LA's a crapshoot. You never know where your next job's gonna be. You may live in North Hollywood and end up working in Santa Monica. That happened on Pearson. You may live on the West Side and end up working in Glendale. Right? I got really lucky in that this particular.
For those of you that are not from LA, those are far away and they're annoying commutes.
Yes. I'm sorry.
They are when you, so as somebody is right now, Google mapping it, and it's like, what? It's 10 miles. How annoying can that be?
10
That's
miles.
An hour and a half.
Yep.
An hour and a half.
10 miles is a different state. And it's like,
I literally,
like in the 6 months I spent in LA, I was never more than 10 miles from Andrew Main. I also never saw Andrew Main.
Yeah. No, the best thing I was ever told once was like, I had a friend who moved out from New York into Burbank, right? And so we're only 5 miles apart. But I said that to someone once because I hadn't seen this friend in like months, and they go, "Yeah, but that's dog miles." Like,
Dog miles.
And I was like, yeah, and because like dog years, bad joke. Okay, moving on. So I really lucky in that this particular job ended up being my neighborhood. The funny part was the building it was in is famous for formerly, until they sold about 2 years ago, being the Vivid Video building.
Oh, I know this building. I've driven by it. They used to have the word Vivid really big on the side. Yeah.
Yep. And you knew all the porn got shot there.
Yeah.
So now they sold off all of their real estate in the building, except for I think like a couple offices. And so now it's
called
houses,
Sepia.
It houses a ton of like a bunch.
Now
of
it's
shows.
Called SD.
Now it's called VHS.
I'll tell you a fun celebrity story that happened while I was there. Not related to our show, because there are multiple shows that work in the building, and they're not all from the Netflix brand. It's in LA, office space is at a premium, and you have to take what you can get. So at one point,
and just for people, so people know, like, you think of something as a consumer as where it ends up. Right. You know it as ABC, NBC, CBS, Netflix, whatever, Hulu. And even though Hulu does originals, blah, blah, blah. But in Hollywood, it starts out from a production company standpoint. So a production company is an independent organization. They pitch to all these networks. The networks pick it up. But it's very independent. Like each show is its own little company that gets funded by the network. And then they give the product to the network.
Fact,
so it's like everything can be everywhere.
I want to say that most of your favorite NBC originals are actually CBS produced.
you're I don't know if it's NBC, but a lot of CBS shows are produced by Warner Brothers. That's a fact. A lot of the most hit
No,
CBS
but
shows.
Yeah, no-
but isn't like Friends a CBS made by
Friends
CBS
is
or
Friends is Warner Brothers.
okay, and then
But you're on the right track.
There's
You're
a
on the
whole
right track.
thing,
Yeah.
but yeah, there was always, I forget what show it was that like was on another network, but then had the producing credit at the end of it. That was ABC Studios, which was always
Yeah.
like funny. But anyway,
Criminal
but
Minds.
just okay, yeah, maybe it was that. But anyway, just so people know, it's not like there is like a Netflix campus where all the Netflix things are made.
No, but there is
you are more likely to have a production company put a bunch of their own shows that are being made for different networks in the same building than they are anything else. But go ahead, Meryl.
Yeah, and it's all about real estate. I mean, we literally didn't have an office until a couple days before we were supposed to start, and then I had to spend 3 days getting this entire office up to snuff. And it went from oh my god, I can't breathe in this room because of all the dust from the previous tenant to functional office in 3 days. Like
Wow.
that's the kind of turnaround you're working with as a writer's PA, and it's part of the job. It's just part of the job. That sounds hellacious to everyone else. I expected it going in. And if you're good at it, you can get through it.
so
And you're
at the-
anyway.
at this point, back to the actual gig. Number one.
Oh no, I had hang on. I got one
Oh,
celebrity.
okay.
Is one
Right.
celebrity story. So anyway, I'm downstairs. I was waiting for a package to show up from Amazon, and I get my phone rang, which means usually there's someone at the door. So I go downstairs, and there's no one at the door. I turn around to go back to the elevator. I hear knocking, and then I go to open the door, and right before me is RZA, because his Hulu show was 2 floors up, and it was his first day.
That's great.
And so RZA starts talking to me like I'm his PA because he thought I was his PA coming down to get him.
Ah, that's funny.
That's
and
awesome.
I had to stop RZA and go, "Hey man, I'm sorry I don't work on your show."
I'm sorry, RZA. Sorry, RZA, the genius. I need you to please pump the brakes.
I felt so
That's
bad.
hilarious.
Yeah, so that was like my one fun celebrity story
So
that
on
happened.
day
That was a good one.
on day one, you fucked with the Wu-Tang Clan, which we all
Not day
know
one,
is
but, like,
nothing to fuck
week one.
with.
Yeah.
Week one.
Yeah, week one.
No
but
matter
yeah,
when,
so the
Meryl. That's verboten. You don't want to do that. That's a bad. They made a whole song about it.
But it was such a fun, like, it was such a great human moment where it's just that
Hollywood
really
moment.
it's just, well, it's a Hollywood moment because of the celebrity, but the thing that really humanizes, like, no, this is just a dude going to work looking for his office too. Like, and it was just a great moment. But anyway, back to the gigs. Yeah, back to the gig. The gig was great. And I'm so happy I got to do it. And I can't wait for everyone to see what the guys worked on, and women worked on.
Can
Very
can
Go ahead.
can I ask you, and this might tread too close to content territory that you're not allowed to talk about, but you watched us watch Warrior Nun, and I am certain that you watched us misinterpret many moments in Warrior Nun as somebody, because
I watched
it's
you. No, I just watched you. It wasn't misinterpretation. I watched you going through the experience I did when I was watching the episodes our first week, because we were shown the season that you watched
okay.
many months ago.
But like, you had not been a fan of the comic book. You didn't have any baggage on that beforehand. Going into
no
it.
baggage. No, none of that. So
Okay.
I went on the same experience of like, oh, is this gonna happen? I bet this is gonna happen. I bet JC's gonna be a huge thing. And then the season goes the way it goes. It's like, oh, cool. So now we get to build from that. That's gonna be awesome. It's much more fun when you get to go when it ends, and then instead of waiting a year, you go, all right, here's what we're gonna do now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Which is as far as I can say. But I went through. It was just fun. It was fun. It was just fun to watch you and Tom watch it and go, I know where this is going, and I know you
Well,
guys are off base.
I liked it. I liked it a lot, despite the fact that and we've talked about this on Cord Killers, despite the fact that it breaks all of my rules. Is like, in general, when a show becomes made of rubber, by which I mean anyone alive could be dead, anyone dead could be alive, anyone good could be bad, anyone bad can be good. It's like, I just don't care. and yet somehow this season, this first season of Warrior Nun was able to pull that out, or pull that off. How close to that was your experience? Because normally everything I just described are things I hate about shows, but I loved every moment of it.
Well, I didn't have any of that experience because it was the first time I wasn't watching something critically.
Oh,
I wasn't watching.
You were watching it as a primer.
I was just watching it as a fan and
Yeah.
being like, I'm just having fun, right? And it's just, and then that's it. So I was just like, this is just fun and enjoyable, and I forgot what it's like to experience a TV show like this, where you're just watching for the joy of watching it. Because the one nice thing is when you're the writer's PA, you're not then expected to then turn around right after watching and go, okay, so what are we gonna do next? I'm like, I'm gonna go get lunch.
Yeah.
Who likes tacos? Okay, so I have a question for you, Justin, but first
Yes.
I just want to get past this dumb thing that happened today. We're doing an episode on smoking a brisket.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this. Briskets take a while to smoke.
Okay.
Turns out that there are 2 golden hours in a day.
Yep.
One is very much earlier than the other. Also turns out that when Brian goes to bed, knowing he has to get up at a certain time, doesn't tend to sleep well. So I go to bed, I want to say like 8:30 or 9 o'clock last night, fall asleep, no problem. But then I wake up like at 11 or 10:30 or something, awake for like 4 hours or whatever.
Okay.
And then eventually catch like 2 hours, and then it's like, well, now it's 6 a.m. and it's call time. So we go and we make a bit out of it. I show up wearing a bathrobe and sunglasses, acting like this is the craziest land I've ever seen. We begin smoking the brisket.
Gotcha.
We agree on when the next call time will be, and I go home.
Okay.
And because now there's no pressure, I put in earplugs and I fall asleep hard, just instantly and hard. So around 8 a.m., like I'm back home, just
And
out
you're
like a
out.
light.
Yeah.
I don't remember, and nobody ever wants to hear somebody else's dreams, but I do remember the end of this dream that ends in an idyllic 1950s Christmas.
Okay.
And in my messed up now adult brain, and I've told the story 3 times, and it seems to have landed each time, but but I know it's Christmas because there's a couple of white adults sitting in chairs and a kid in PJs and just Christmas accoutrement everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear what I assume is either the radio or a gramophone. And all of this makes perfect sense in my mind because I'm there and I hear on the radio a jaunty tune where the lyrics are, "It's Christmas, motherfucker." and it's like the most normal thing ever. And and then that's when I wake up. So that's the one thing I hold on to. And it's like, it's roughly to the tune of Peter Pan peanut butter, but the lyrics are, "It's Christmas, motherfucker."
Your dreams are goddamn detailed. Like, also, you and I are the exact same sleeper. Like, I have that exact same problem where it's, you got a call time. Like, an early morning flight, I'm fucked. Like, because like I always do them because especially when I'm flying to the East Coast, I want to do the 6 a.m. flight. Or no, I'm sorry, when I'm flying, whatever.
Yeah,
Point
sure,
is,
sure.
Whenever I have an early flight, I'm just like, and I need to get to sleep. Or the worst, like when I have an important meeting. That's the worst one. When I have an important meeting and I have to get to it, I have to wake up early to get dressed and get to it.
No, I'm
Oh,
screwed.
can I not fall asleep?
Cannot do, yeah. But so I tried it. I tried it on Bonnie in front of Callie, and the fact that she did not admonish me for saying that in front of Callie made me feel like that's funny. And then I went to my 16-year-old room and I told her, and she burst out laughing. There's something about that Bing Crosby vignette.
Yeah. Ba 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 ba. It's
Christmas, motherfucker.
You gotta have Mike write a song that you play like on the holiday episode.
It's also, I just really like the idea that those are the only lyrics. Like there's just no, it's just over and over and over again. Like it's Christmas, motherfucker.
Well, it's like if
it's Christmas,
if you're
motherfucker.
it's like if you need to write a scene and you need to make it absolutely clear that it takes place at Christmas.
In Christmas,
that's a pretty good lyric to throw in there.
Oh my God, yeah. I just like the idea that it is this, idyllic, little kid in pajamas ripping open, presents, and mom and dad with coffee and bathrobes, and it's
Christmas, motherfucker.
Like that's the only thing that's different in this version of reality is that motherfucker is not a curse word. In fact, it's a treasured institution.
But it had that same the artifacting of either AM radio or like I said a random phonograph or whatever. Yeah.
You guys should do like
a barbershop quartet or something.
What you should do is you should right now do like a clean minute of it, so that way someone in the chat or someone watching later can clip the audio and remix it into a song for the holidays.
Okay, done. In the meantime,
first, hold on, wait a minute. First, Brian, we have to do a little intro to it because all these Christmas songs, they always like weirdly have like talking at the beginning where it's like, "Hey, what time is it?" It's like
here we go. So this would be all like, I'm looking around. The sky is gray. It's a little bit cold on this special day. I wonder to me just how I should be. And that's when I realize, ba-bum, bum, bum.
There we go. Perfect. You got it.
Okay. So you're almost done with the DNC, right?
Night four tonight. It is
semifinals.
It's so good.
No, this is really halftime.
Somebody has to go up against Zap.
Yeah, so we have that tonight. That wraps it for the Dems. And then we have the Republicans next week. So
do you think you're going to go on tomorrow night and do like a big final sort of wrap-up show of like, here's the whole week and here's what worked and what didn't?
Fuck no. I'm
He's gonna have a martini in his hand singing, It's Christmas,
motherfucker. No, tomorrow I'm going to do a recap of not streaming 2 times a day every day. I'm going to very much enjoy or 3 times, I guess, technically, whenever I do night or anything else. So multiple times, but on my channel, not doing 2 multi-hour streams. No, I'll do the morning call-in show tomorrow, and then of course happy hour, and then the rest of it will just be putting together PX3. Past that, I will be walking around Oakland getting drunk and not streaming. That's what I'll be doing.
You're gonna go outside right now?
Yeah.
Come back covered in
where the booze is.
Come back covered in ash.
Yeah.
That's right. I guess everything's on fire
this morning. I ran this morning, so it wasn't that bad. The air quality, at least last time I checked, was moderate. So it's like not something that Ashley wants to be out in. But if I'm already inhaling smoke into my face with a cigar, how much more damage can the wildfire do me?
There. I gotta tell you, the black and white grew on me. I still would love to see an experiment of sepia, but it's so good, the black and white. Oh, that smoky back room. This whole week has been just wonderful.
Well, thank you.
The only thing that made it watchable.
Brother, doing this has been the only reason why I wasn't just turning it off or playing with my phone and being on Twitter. I'm really, really happy. I'm happy I built the set. ultimately, I just kind of feel I and Brian, this, whenever you work really, really hard on something, but you don't really know if it's going to work until you do it. And then almost immediately, it's weird because you almost feel like it's too easy, despite the fact that you worked really, really hard on it leading up to it. And you were like, your every thought was consumed with like, okay, where am I? What do I need? Where's that Amazon delivery? Have I tried this out? Like, do I need to do that? Oh, this little thing I saw, like, I need to make sure I do that. And then you do it, and then it's like, oh, it all worked. Too easy. I need to think of something else to complicate it, or I need to do something else that's like, there's always another thing, but I'm feeling very, very good about it.
There's definitely that bias where the mere fact of achieving a thing lets you know that it was possible. And if it didn't feel all that hard, then you inherently have this wave of like, well, then I must have done it wrong. I must have done it the lazy, easy way. And there must have been a better version waiting.
Yeah. I've been producing so much stuff lately, like, especially this week. It's like my regular stream, the Smoky Back Room stream. Those are 2 sets. One needs to be scratched and reset every day. I'm watching the chat to see whether or not how people are thinking about it and what changes I may or may not want to make. I'm still doing the podcast. I'm still doing Night Attack. I'm still doing DTNS and weird things. And then I'm working on a project that may or may not be a history podcast. Like, there's a lot of my brain that's on a very critical mode. Like, it's my project, so I have to be critical about my own behavior. That, like, last night, Ashley was like, we were talking about something else, and I just like had to stop her because I was like, look, like, it was getting into stuff about what I thought about what I was doing, and I'm like, I have to not talk about this because, like, my brain is very critical right now, and I know that I will cut too far into the bone if we keep talking. If we keep talking, then I will start dissecting myself too far.
To me, it's like it's that moment when, like, you're juggling and then you pause to think, how am I doing this? And now you're fucked, right? Or how good is this? And then it's like, you can't.
Yeah, it's hard.
I do think it's worth, because Justin, you missed the beginning of this episode where I was telling Brian how I'm excited to see what his next 4 months look like, because right now he's in this insane, intense production bubble and producing 4 months worth of Modern Rogue in 1 month. And then what that's going to do is open him up to all this new time that didn't exist before. And what comes out of that time? What is he going to make with that time, right? And for you, I look at it the same way, but in reverse, in that what you lost was all of the traveling you were supposed to do, all of the on the road production you were supposed to do. And you took what was supposed to be all of that time and you converted it into a new thing that now not only gives you a new thing, but will last longer. Like, you've now invested that time into the future, because now you do have that second set. Now you do have another season of a history podcast that may or may not exist. We don't know.
We don't know.
But you revamped the entire morning stream set as well. And oh my God, that stream has taken on a whole new life with the changes. That making that TV part of the set and not just the floating diamond, and branding the PX3 into bringing it all under one umbrella and different parts of the umbrella. I mean, you've converted that time into a useful energy that gives you this foundation that you can do anything.
Yeah, I in a lot of ways, I wish the DNC were more watchable because that's, I think,
it sounds awful. Like, I've not watched any of it, but I've heard every time I turn on NPR, I'm like, the fuck is this? And then somebody comes in and is like, we're listening to the DNC happening live.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh. Like, this is the respected blah, blah, blah.
I did a thing on PX3 Extra today that was basically saying that there were a speech by Obama and a speech by Kamala Harris last night, both of which I think were fine. But the one thing I kept wanting was for them to kind of fire up a bit, like by the end, like, and Brian, I'll tell you what, like, my of course my metaphor is professional wrestling, but I played like one of those old you we're coming to your town, Austin, Texas, on Saturday. Look who's gonna be there, Hulk Hogan. And then Hulk Hogan had to come in and cut a promo about how he was gonna beat this guy that he was gonna be scheduled to wrestle in Austin.
I'm gonna eat
but it's
Black's
like
barbecue, and then I'm gonna kick your ass and eat a lot of vitamins afterwards. Also steroids.
exactly. But they had to do those one after another, for all the live events that they were doing that was going to air on local television. And they would say the same thing over and over and over again, but with just one town changed, in a closet in Connecticut without a live crowd. But you had to replicate the kind of thing that you would pay to go see. YouTube is the same way. You have to bring an energy that acts like you are the cool, fun guy and not just in your set, like by yourself. And both Kamala and Obama were just flat. And it's just one of those things where it's like, man, without the crowd, they were really kind of suffering. They didn't have that element of like, now I'm going to fire up by myself. And I played Hulk Hogan and then Obama at the 2016 DNC. And you're like, look, energy,
Pretty
big
close.
energy.
Pretty close. He's feeling
then-
it. He's jazzed. He's pumped. That's electricity.
and then-
this is a moment.
And then I played Obama last night, and it's like, whoa, like you can tell there's like a big difference. And I'm not saying it has to be the same, and certainly I'm not saying that Obama has to be Hulk Hogan, right? But I am saying that it's got to be closer to what he was on stage than what we got last night. And
Do you
that's something
think
where it's
part
like you
of-
can't, yeah.
Do you think part of it is him and Harris meeting the moment? And like, because a lot of people, do you feel like people would view the energy as disingenuous? Even though, it's because like we're in a pandemic, people are dying, there's an economic downturn. Like
I think there is something to the perception among the public that Republicans are doing a NASCAR wrestling bit, and it's incumbent on us, the intelligentsia, the wise ones, the Democrats, the enlightened, to speak to each other like adults.
Well, again, but I don't think that theatricality is in everything. And that's why I wanted to play Obama speaking at the DNC as another part of it, because it wasn't like 4 years ago he was like, whippity-doo, everything's great, everything's exciting, we're super pumped. He was back then, he was like, our democracy is at a crossroads. We really need to do things. We need to be very serious about what we're doing because this is the most important election of all time. And we can't allow Donald Trump in the White House. Like, that was a part of what he was saying then. It's not a matter. Serious doesn't have to be boring. In fact,
Gotcha.
serious very often can be the most compelling. And that was the problem, is that you just need a little bit of energy to say, like, especially for Kamala, to be like, no, I'm the fighter. I'm here for this fight. And you want to know what? Yeah, I am mad. I am mad about the fact that 170,000 people are dying. I am mad that the Republicans are working to take away health care. I am mad that it's up to us, each and every one of you, that we're going to come out here and we're going to change the course of American history. And this Saturday, Sergeant Slaughter, I'm going to make sure you don't leave Poughkeepsie, Mississippi. Like,
I see where you're going now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see where you're at now. I will say the other thing that you found during the stream it's maybe become my favorite part of the stream is you quickly began to realize, oh, there's a character here that is in the smoky back room and walks in the beginning of the convention night wearing a suit, holding a glass of whiskey, and by the end of the night he's disheveled, the coat's off, the tie is undone, the buttons are undone. Like, and you watching you slowly progress into that state and getting more and more frustrated. I don't know how much of that is the genuine frustration, how much of that is you doing the bit, but it's so good.
It's
so
mostly
good.
the bit. Although there is the fact that I'm sweating like a hooker in church back here. So there's only so much that I want to sweat through everything.
Question, and this is me being a bad friend because I should already know this. Is there a a like non-nicotine vape pen in your hand the whole time that you're able to adopt that affectation of the
I have a cigar. An unlit cigar, but no, there is no smoke. The thing with the smoke is I could add digital smoke, but I don't know. I'm already pretty gimmick heavy. Like I'm already in a suit. I'm already black and white. I'm already on a set. Like I don't know if the digital smoke puts it into the like, because I think it looks really avant-garde right now. Like when I when I rewatch it, I kind of feel like it looks like old. Like it doesn't even look like old footage of politics stuff. It kind of looks like avant-garde art, like Russian like art, stuff. And like I love that. I don't want to push it over the line into kind of like parody. That being said, if I had built this set in a studio and not in my apartment with my wife who despises the fact that I smoke cigars and birds that are sensitive to smoke of any kind, I would be smoking a cigar the entire time. Like I would just rip through 4 cigars a night.
They've got those vape pens that glow at the tip and there's really nothing in them. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe in season 2.
Okay.
Are you gonna keep it? So is the plan to keep the smoky back room, like
The
do like a
milky
night
back room.
smoky back room full time?
No,
or
I think it should be
like-
the milky back room. Like he's got 2%, 1% whole.
Yeah.
Half
just
and
pouring it all over my face.
like what's the plan for it post convention? I guess.
I think I'm gonna leave it. I'll probably build it out a little bit more because I wanted to get to minimum viable product for these 2 weeks.
Right.
But it'll be the special event place. I think we will probably leave it up for the debates for election night. What it'll look like will probably change. Hopefully it will get cooler looking as we go along. But there are a few other ideas that I have that boy, I'll tell you what, man. When you do something new, I'm very, very happy that everybody's got opinions because it means that they see value and they want to add to it. Or they see that it's a tragic value because if only it had changed 5%, it would have truly been amazing. But boy, howdy, opinions. Boy, everybody got them.
I mean, I do want to apologize. I didn't mean to sound like I was stage directing you.
No, it's I only pushed back because I knew it was coming. Because and not with you specifically.
Yeah.
But
just
you
can yell at me in jest and have it be okay.
Well, yeah, and I can make an example of you to the chat. I know that I know you well enough that I could say, "Fuck you, Meryl, don't stage direct me." And now everybody else who wanted to stage direct me would be like, "Oh,
I don't want to be Meryl."
But I mean, I had the same thing with I had the same thing with this set, where when I was doing the stand-up stuff, and everybody's got an idea, and everybody's got an opinion, and everybody wants this thing to be this thing or that thing to be the other thing, and that wall should be another, and it's like. What I won't say to everybody, but I will think, and I know, is that you want to know what? Your idea may indeed be the right one. And in 2 weeks, I may indeed do it. But for right now, number one, I can't change anything because first, I got to figure out what I like and don't like about this.
Number 2, you cannot be seen on screen saying, "That's a great idea that I'm going to do," because then the floodgates open.
And even then, sometimes you do see good ideas that are really easy to change, and it's like, okay, well, that's easy to change, and so you want to keep those to a minimum, or you want to change them after the show. And I mean, also the other thing is that like I don't have a TD. You know, I don't have anybody that's doing this stuff for me. I'm a one-man band on this, and so it's like camera, audio, mixing, stage. You know, all of that is all me. You know, every once in a while, Ashley will get bored and we'll watch it from the console, and I'll be able to ask her to switch to something. But like, by and large, this is something where the worst person to be asking, hey, can this change, is the talent. Unfortunately, the talent also could change it because he's also the switcher and the mixer and everything else. But it's like, you know, Brian, you do a heroic effort in responding to YouTube comments. I would imagine that the only more painful way that you could deal with YouTube comments is if they were yelled at you live while you were shooting the episode. And how much you would value their opinion on what should and shouldn't change.
As somebody who is approximately 10 years farther down this journey and in a place of extraordinary privilege, this is the part where I shut the fuck up because I do have all of the things that you just mentioned, and I'm gonna shut the fuck up. It's Christmas, motherfucker.
I'd say let's go out on that.
All right, here we go. Thank you again to Meryl Barr. Thank you very much to Mike TV for writing our song that we love. There it is. Hey.
Happy hour.
We'll see you guys Monday. Wait, is today Thursday or Friday? Tomorrow.
Night Attacks Happy Hour. Night Attacks Happy Hour.